From the workshop floor,
we are going to be doing a deep dive into trends. Is there a trend cycle? How do they develop?
And what do we think is going to be big in the future?
It's a little bit of a design no-no.
It's the real investigative journalism that we need to be doing.
I don't want to hear another demure joke.
What?
Well, I actually never hated that.
Might be the way the future's heading. And thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video.
Welcome back to From the Workshop Floor. Today we have a very special guest. We have Melissa here today.
Hello.
If you don't know, Melissa is from the Answer in Progress YouTube channel, where they cover a variety of topics to reignite your love for learning.
Great introduction. Thank you.
You are the true investigator here of all of us, I'd say.
Well, happy to be here. Let's do some digging.
Okay, before we get into it, I have to ask, because I love your mug choice today. Is there a story behind it? Because it's very cool.
I actually got this mug this year from this market that I went to, and I saw this and I said, I want to have my morning coffee in that. And so I went to go check out, and the artist was checking me out, which is wonderful. And they're like, what are you going to use this for? And I was like, what do you mean use this for? I was like, to drink out of, to like have my tea and my coffee in it. And they were like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, what do you mean that's interesting?
It's a choice, right?
I'm like, this is a mug, isn't it? And she was like, I mean, it was a flower pot actually.
Oh, what?
So this is my flower pot mug, but I love it. And it's perfect because this is how much tea and coffee I want.
Listen, I love me a handleless cup. Like, even this one, I hold it without the handle because you need to see the face. Come on.
What is it?
I don't know.
It's like kind of like it's like Rudolph.
I'm not sure.
The red nose.
But I need to say, while I have people out there listening, is there is another one in this set. I think this is from like the 90s. And it's like a lime green color, and I've been trying to find it forever.
Oh.
So if anyone sees this face in like a green color mug, message me. Okay. I want it.
Every single one of my favorite mugs don't have handles, minus this one. Stay strong.
That does happen.
But it has feet.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Even if they once had a handle.
We tried to throw this one out.
Actually
I'm
took it off.
No. It's like all my favorite mugs, they've either broken off, but it doesn't matter because that's not the best part. It's the mug. The vessel at which you drink is so important.
I agree.
Yeah. And that was giving.
I love that.
Trends are kind of a weird thing. Like, where do they even come from, and how do they make their way into every aspect of our lives? Like our home decor, fashion, art, even the movies and TV shows that we watch.
Yes, what's really having a big comeback now is the 90s and early 2000s in our home decor and in the media that we consume. And speaking of those early shows, you know what I'm really sad about is Friends just got taken off of Canada's Netflix. I can't watch it anymore, but that is where today's sponsor, Surfshark, comes in and saves the day.
If you guys don't know what a VPN is, it's going to keep your information safe online by encrypting all of the information that's sent between your device and the internet.
So specifically, Surfshark allows you to connect to one of their thousands of servers online, which makes it appear that you're in another country and you can access their Netflix.
Yeah, so once, because we're here in Canada, I was about 2 seasons into a show, and then I went traveling and went, oh my God, the 3rd season's up. Amazing.
Love that feeling, by the way.
Absolutely. And I made it a couple episodes in, but then it was time to go home, and lo and behold, season 3 was not on Netflix Canada.
Yes. And also another example is I was watching Succession, which is available. It's an HBO show, but it's on our Crave here in Canada. Then I was traveling in the States and I was invested. I need to see how the show ended. But in the States, it was on the HBO streaming platform, which I didn't want to have to pay for a whole nother platform. I just wanted to keep watching it on Crave, which was my Canadian platform. So with the help of VPN, I could finish that show.
Nice.
The ending was so spicy. So what's great is with Surfshark VPN, you can unblock and access content libraries from all around the world, no matter where you are.
Be sure to use the code TheSorryGirls for an extra 4 months free using the code linked in the description.
Plus, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk in trying it out. All right, let's get back into those trends. So Melissa, I know you've done a little bit of deep diving into the trend cycle and where it came from and what we can learn from it. Can you take us through it?
Yes, did a little bit of reading about the trend cycles. Have y'all ever heard of James?
James who?
James Laver.
Okay, I have not.
James Laver is a guy from like the early 1900s, and he created what we know as like a trend cycle. And he's the one who predicted that trends kind of repeat themselves every 20 to 30 years. So
Even back in the 1900s,
There was
we're
trends.
still repeating trends.
there's a time where the trend is widely accepted. Everyone loves it. But before it gets to that point, there are some phases that certain trends go through. Not all of them make it to the not all trends make it to the
Fair.
peak, but there's 5 phases that trends typically go through. Shall we move on? I feel like I'm presenting to the class today.
It is a little bit
I
presentation-y.
love learning, so I'm so set for this.
Yeah.
There's the first phase, introduction. Not everyone is loving this trend. Let's go back to the 1930s. What were people thinking about then? Were ankles being showed then? I can't remember.
No.
People hate it probably.
No,
They're
for real.
like, that's a little scandalous, before
Absolutely.
it becomes accepted,
I think a
right?
good example would be like women wearing bikinis to the beach.
Exactly.
It was always like full covered, and then as time went on, they're like, why are we so covered? Why do the men get to be in their underwear? And then over time, it became accepted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then at a certain point, it hits its peak,
Yep.
Okay.
and then again, who knows how long it's gonna stay, and then eventually it tapers off,
And it's
And then it's
uncool
gone.
again.
Oh yeah.
and then it's like, oh, you're wearing a bikini?
Oh.
We did that 5 years ago. We're not doing that anymore.
The
Story of my life.
tankinis were
Yeah.
back this summer.
It's tanks.
Oh,
No,
God.
Tankini
All
season.
about tankinis.
And then eventually it goes away. And then according to this law, Laver's law, that, in 20, 30 years, maybe this trend will pick up again. Who knows? But usually we look to about 20, 30 years ago to kind of
It makes a lot of sense.
It goes
That
through
does
this
make
cycle.
sense. I feel like we've definitely seen this cycle happen many, many times. And it probably is a good predictor for what's going to be cool in the future if we can look back 20 to 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Do we think this cycle's going to happen a lot faster now? Because everything's so accessible. I feel like things come and then next week they're not cool already.
Yeah, I feel like I can't keep up on my
Yeah.
social media. I'm scrolling and I think to myself, it's already over.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I feel like the early adopters stage has to be just like blink of an eye now, because before you would just like see that one random person in your town wearing that hat or whatever, and you're like, that's so silly. But now that one person can be on the internet, they have their hat, and yeah, the people in their immediate circle are like, that's really silly. But somebody on the internet is like, I love that. And then,
Yeah.
And then it dies.
just as
And then-
quick.
And then it gets
end.
rejected, which is interesting because it was so the coolest thing, and then all of a sudden it's just like,
Yeah.
the new thing's here and out with the old.
Or can we talk about, and it's already going to be so dated at the point that this episode is out, but the whole demure thing, it was literally just last week. Was it last week?
Yeah.
I was
like
telling
it.
Jules about it. I was like, have you seen this whole demure thing? Like, look at me doing my DIY in such a demure way. And she's like, no, what is it? So I pulled it up on my phone and we laughed about it. And already it's been how many days? And I'm so sick of it. I don't want to hear another demure joke.
Very demure, very mindful.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is moving faster, and the oversaturation of it all. We're all just like,
We see it so fast. Yeah. So this seems to be like a 20 to 30 year cycle that we had been seeing. But of course, there's going to be things that come and like immediately influence when a trend changes. We've got what? Technology?
I mean, for sure. The fact that like the internet is out there and everybody can see things at like a moment's notice. You have a thought, you're like, wait, did I hear something? And then you look it up and you're all of a sudden you're in it. And you're deep in Pinterest.
Yes. Or as soon as new tech comes out, right? Like whenever there's a new iPhone that has new features, all of a sudden we're like,
gosh.
we're talking about it. Or like, AI's having a moment. We're like instantly talking about it, and it's in everything we do.
I don't know if surveillance is the right word, but just like being watched
Yeah.
is certainly something that's big these days that I don't think is going away. So whether it is from like personal surveillance, you've got all the tech that you can have to sort of protect yourself, observe your goings on, but then also just like putting yourself out on the internet.
Yeah, like these Ring doorbells. I feel like it wasn't that long ago where I was like, that's revolutionary. That's so cool that you can see who's at your door and I'm instant. And already I'm like, oh yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. You see all the like TikToks or whatever of somebody's Ring doorbell footage of like their dog ringing the doorbell.
Or like this picture here, like immediately brings me back like a few years. These strip lights.
Oh my gosh. Leave it in the comments if you had strip lights in your room, and no judgment at all. I actually never hated them.
Okay, wait, question. Is the new cool thing to like hide the strip lights, but to like still have them? Or no?
That's my preferred use of them, is when
Yeah.
you can put them kind of behind a TV or behind a mirror, or even like in this case, like behind the headboard. It glows up the room, but you don't see the little like LED dots. I feel like it's a bit harsh for my eyes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a design no-no. But to like have integrated lighting like this does look kind of cool.
I think it's when strip lights became more affordable. Because there was a moment when these were actually, I mean, maybe they still are, but they were quite expensive to buy. Like, we're talking like $100 for like a 3-foot strip.
Damn.
What?
And then somehow they found a way to make them cheaper, and they were easy to use, and you didn't need to like connect it to like Wi-Fi and all this really crazy stuff. And I think that's when it blew up, because everyone could afford them. And that was an advancement of technology influencing a trend.
You know what I was really like late on the trend for was like the smart home technology. Like I felt like I only got a little Google Home Mini like not that long ago. And now I like rely on her for everything. That was such a short turnaround that this piece of technology just kind of
Changed your life.
Whole life.
Yeah.
Are you all smart home users?
Yeah.
I'm personally not. I need to.
You turn on your own lights?
The audacity.
Girl.
Only recently did I turn on Siri on my phone.
You know what? I actually don't use that.
She's not
She's not on my phone.
honestly.
What?
Sorry, Siri.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I tell Siri to call people. That's kind of the only thing,
like,
actually.
Do you ever have her look stuff up? Like, instead of just calculating something now, I'll be like, hey, Siri, what's 16 times 9?
That's true. Timers and calculators and calling people. Those are my 3 Siri tasks.
I don't know why. It just reminded me of when I was in Montreal watching a TheSorryGirls video, and that was like right at the beginning of me having a little Google thing. And I don't know if it was you or Kelsey said, hey,
Oh,
blah, 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 and then my Google reacted, and I was like,
We had to learn to edit that out of our videos. We have to cut out the Google word, because every time we would say it in a video, it would set off everyone's Googles at home.
But it's like the Amazon version, Alexa.
Yeah.
As if like there's not people named that.
it must be
Can you
tough.
change the name of your?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know.
Weirdly, I thought you were going to say child. If you find it's a problem.
You probably could. I think
name
Kylie
your
Jenner
child?
did that like a year after.
Yeah.
I heard.
It's Air now.
Yeah.
What was his name before?
I think it was like, I want to say Knight. I don't know if that's
was it
right.
Wolf?
Wolf.
I forget.
Yeah.
I'm so behind.
Gotta get on them weather names.
Well, that leads us into
Influencers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're a part of the system here, but just, yeah, the prevalence of media and influencers getting the word out there
Yeah.
for things. So, like, before, maybe you kind of heard that something might be cool, whatever, but you weren't, like, necessarily willing to try it out. But now, like, you open up your browser and you see this person has got it, this person's doing it, this person's doing it, and you're like, okay, it's safe to try.
Well, you got to think about it too, like on like a very, from like a human psychology level. I like, what is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs is like at the very top, it's self-actualization and like belonging, sense of belonging.
Oh, yeah.
So inherently as human beings, we want to fit in. We do want to belong and have a sense of community. Not like cookie cutters, obviously, we're all individuals and we're all independent, but this all trickles down into that, like why trends even exist, because we're not sure like what's cool or what's not cool sometimes. So you look around to your peers to be like, somebody help me out because I want to just fit in.
What are you guys doing? Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's a really like interesting where it actually comes from. We're not just like doing this for no reasons, because like we want to belong.
Yeah, all of these pictures like create like a visceral reaction to me. I'm like, yes, I remember these so deeply.
Yeah.
Like that H&M donut vase. People were out on the streets like fighting for their life to get this vase. It was always sold out. It was the thing to have. And I couldn't tell you why. I mean, it's cute.
It reminds me of the new thing, that IKEA donut thing.
Right, like
It's
that
sold
donut
out.
lamp.
People are fighting for it.
And it just
for a
happened.
vase, it's a super unique advanced shape for a vase at the time. I think I'll put
Super
that out.
unpractical though. It is, because
Does the water go? Where does the water?
where do the stems go?
For this
Water
one,
goes
it's nice the way they did that, but I don't know. I think, Becky, you also tried to style straight things in these, and they go like inside. But that cloud couch had, I think, myself and a lot of people I knew in a chokehold for,
Yes.
yeah, and still
Hands
honestly a little bit.
raised.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we certainly went through our dried florals phase, where green plants were out. And we had just gone through the tropical plant phase too, right?
Everyone with their plant babies.
Everyone
Send
had
us
a
Banana
jungle.
leaf, wallpaper, everywhere.
And then overnight it was like, oh, you have a living plant? Okay.
Try those.
Where are your dried florals though? Where's your pampas grass?
Yes.
I remember years ago when it was having a moment walking through like the literal nature, and there was a girl walking down the trail with her boyfriend, and she was grabbing some, and she was like, do you know how expensive this is in the city? And I was like, girl, you're right. You're right.
It's going for free out here.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Melissa,
We have a very quick rapid fire Q&A to get to know you even better.
Okay.
Okay. Rochelle, would you like to read the first one?
Love to. What is what you would say an underrated episode on your channel that you think people should definitely go and check out?
Good question. I made a video about luxury candles and why they're so expensive, and I got to make my own candle. And it was a fun journey for me, but also uncovered something very interesting about the fragrance industry.
Ooh.
So if you haven't seen it yet, you should watch it.
We will make sure to link that below so everyone can go check it out. Oh, okay. Can you tell us a fun fact about your channel that the viewers probably don't know?
Ooh. Well, this isn't actually the first Answer in Progress TheSorryGirls collab that exists on the internet. We're based in Toronto, and you're also based in Toronto. And sometimes our team needs some, like, extra space to film stuff.
Yes.
And so, I think this was a year ago, we were making a video about ice baths, and I was like, I can't do this in my place. Can I? Let me see if I could ask the TheSorryGirls very nicely if I could just set up a really silly ice bath in their backyard. That was an unofficial collab.
And can I tell you, so you did it in, like, basically a trash can, like a Rubbermaid bin.
Oh yeah, I lugged that from Home Depot on the subway.
On the subway.
Yeah.
And it is still here, and we love it.
But you still have the garbage. I'm sorry, I was like, you can have my trash.
No, we use it to put trash in, and it's so handy. So thank you for blessing us with the cold plunge trash can.
You're very welcome. Thank you for taking my trash and making it your own trash holder.
Okay, Rachel, read us the last.
All right. In your opinion, what do you think is the most elite pasta shape?
I'm so glad you asked this question. I would love to shout out my homie Bucatini. And I'm so sorry to anybody who likes penne, but you are in the bottom tier.
I love penne.
Becky!
It holds the sauce so well.
It's got such a nice bite to it.
You know, but penne's like kind of got that angular, it's like sharp edge. It could poke you.
Yep. I've never been personally injured by a penne noodle before.
You gotta cook your penne, girl.
Obviously.
It's all too hard
enough.
for that. In case anyone is curious why I'm so passionate about pasta shapes, a little while ago we made a video about why there are so many pasta shapes, and I don't remember how many pasta shapes I had made in my kitchen, but I made a lot of them, and it's a fun video. You should watch that one too. Penne!
You know what else the media is helpful for too in making you feel secure about these choices and trying? Because like all these things, home decor, it's great, but for a lot of people, the wider world doesn't see their home necessarily. It's just like their friends, their family, people they feel safe with. But then when you get to like fashion, that's something that you're putting on your body and walking out into the world to be judged.
You're feeling represented. Maybe you saw Emma Chamberlain wearing a puffer jacket, and then you thought, I need a puffer jacket. And then you went to school the next day, and every single one of your friends also decided they needed puffer jackets.
Yes.
And it is all because they saw one person do so.
Yeah. This one, this came out of nowhere all of a sudden, and it was the thing to have. It was like last year, the Super Puff
It's like,
at
yes,
Aritzia.
I think it was a
Yes.
couple years ago.
Because these puffer jackets, I had one in like powder blue when I was in like grade 7.
Ooh, show off.
No, but
Powder blue, that's beautiful.
Trendsetter.
guys, I was like 10. I don't know.
The nice thing about this puffer is it is timeless a bit though, because this was a huge trend wearing a puffer jacket like this in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like that's when your puffer vests and puffer jackets.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's a cyclical cycle, as we just learned.
I think what I've learned is if you're ever not sure, just adapt a slightly hoarder tendency, and eventually you will always be in style because you'll have something that's 20 years old and you can bust it back out again and be right back on trend.
Yeah. Perfect. Something else that happens when, I guess, a design style like recirculates is you start seeing the fashion that was also like poignant of that design style also resurface. So for example, we have the Art Deco example up here where you see a lot of like geometric lines and like curvatures, and then we see it repeated here in the purse. Sometimes when, you know, you see the style come back, you might see that change purse come back too.
Yeah, trends find their way into everything.
But there's some styles that become so beloved that even they stand the test of like 100 years.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like going back to Mr. James Laver.
We love him.
He did have something in his book about like after 150 years of a trend like dying and it resurfaces again after 150 years, like it becomes even more special. I think it transcends trendiness
Yes.
at that point. It becomes
It's
like
timeless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember in 20, I guess it would have been 2020, but this specific style is like, I would like my cutlery to look like this.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Gold cutlery had a moment.
Yeah.
May we all aspire to be as timeless as Art Deco.
For real.
Okay, so speaking of this cycle that our friend Laver has so wonderfully put together, we have definitely seen this happen. Like, I can verify in my lifetime I've seen this happen. Like, this sort of mid-century modern 70s style that's very much my favorite thing came back in the 2000s in a major way. I would say perhaps it's even on the way out now, which makes me a little sad. But like, for example, this dresser here, I think is like a Westone piece maybe, but also could be anyone else because this piece of furniture was everywhere like maybe 5 years ago, especially this sort of tapered wooden leg.
Yeah.
Do you know how many angled furniture leg plates Kelsey and I have purchased in our lifetime? Because there was a moment where if you were building a table or a little stand or anything or a chair, like that was the leg to put on it. It was just so cool to have this mid-century angled leg. And, you know, this is very much from like the 60s and 70s, and it came back again. Oh.
Wildcard.
Wildcard.
Ah.
Oh. Should we have Melissa read it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Read our wild card.
Okay. All right. Match the trending space to the year of the IKEA catalog.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So we have 6 photos and 6 years, and we got to get these right as a team.
I mean, if that couch isn't 1980 something, I will eat my shirt.
Yes.
So we have 1974, 1983, 1990, 1994, 2002, and 2008. So we're going 6-year-ish
Okay.
increments.
Oh, boy.
4 to 6. Okay.
I feel like 90 and 94 and 2002 and 2008 are going to be tough.
Yeah.
I
Boy.
think that one feels quite 70s to
Yeah.
me, I had to say.
So we're going to leave you here for now.
And I think you're right about the couch. That's got to be 80s. Do you think?
Is 1983 like too early? Was that like
You
Saved
could
by
be
the
right.
Bell, like a late 80s?
Like, were we not used to this crazy
Yeah.
psychedelic pattern yet this early in the 80s?
Yeah. Could it
But
be like a
wasn't it-
1990?
Wasn't it kind of like halfway through the 80s when like this, like all the cups were this like pattern?
Quite possibly.
Okay, which one would be the 90s one? Because right now I feel like that maybe, you know,
I
these
think
two
top
are.
left is feeling 90s to me.
Yes.
Feels very homey.
Okay, but
very-
1990 or 1994?
I think the top one is 94. Only because the one on the bottom just feels
90?
Like
feel
the
more
turn
zen
of the
up.
decade.
exactly.
I think so. I think this feels right.
For 2002, I feel like I'm looking for a Nancy Myers-esque. You know?
I don't know. I feel like
This is very 2002 coded to me. This looks like a Mary Kate and Ashley
Oh,
movie
okay.
poster.
More so than
Or
2008.
I don't know.
but older,
2002
but when they're
feels
older.
this blue one to me feels 2002.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like this was like bedroom aspiration when I was a kid. This like lime green and this metal.
Okay, so maybe you.
The dog is throwing me. I don't know. What the
Okay,
dog
what else is in the room? Red couch, green paneling?
What if that one's 2008?
This
I
has
think
to be.
so.
Oh. Oh.
I think the dog is 2008.
That's what it looks like. It's
I don't think
it's
you're
in
wrong.
a mobile phone.
I know it's definitely
That dog knows what a flip phone is.
seen a flip phone. It's one of the 2000s. I feel
Yeah, I
good
think
about that.
94's got to go back.
But 2002 is the blue room, I think.
Yep.
All
You
right.
want to double check your answers? 1994, giving. 2008, giving. 74, giving. 1990, she gives. 2002,
Get it.
Do we feel good about this?
If we're wrong, I'll be sad. I think this is right.
So the very first one was 1994, so that one's correct.
Hey!
The second one was 2008. Yeah. The third one was the 70s one. Sorry, that's the year. 1974. So you got that correct.
Mm-hmm.
Good eye.
Now,
Oh.
this is very up.
What?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was so sure about the blue room.
You were right about the blue room. That is 2002.
See,
What?
I knew it. But
You
that
were
was the late
actually-
80s. Ugh,
Yeah,
coming out in
so this
1990.
one
That's such.
is actually 1983.
Wow.
And the one that you thought was 83 is actually 1990.
That makes sense in hindsight. Very
Good job,
cool.
guys. We got, what was that, like a 85%?
Yeah.
That's certainly
Yeah.
more than a passing grade.
We'll take it.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to discuss what we think's coming up and what's the new hot trend that we all need to hop on and be the early adapters for.
Is it trend setting if you're borrowing a trend? Like,
I mean, you have to be the one to bring it
yeah,
back.
you gotta set it. Someone's gotta do it.
You're a trend teller. You're telling people that this is what it is.
Yes, you are
A trend bringer backer.
a trend shepherd.
Oh, I like that. Shepherding in
You're
a new
hurting
era.
the trend to everybody. Anyone have any predictions based off what we learned today?
Well, I think based on the timeline,
What was going on 20, 30 years ago?
well, if we go back 30 plus years ago, we are kind of in the middle of the 80s. And 80s had a big era of this sort of Memphis style where things were super saturated, super colorful, bright and poppy. I want to say not a lot of pattern, even though it's very patterned, but it was very like bold.
It's color blocking a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. And even your pattern was likely a color blocked pattern, not
Yes.
something busy, too busy.
It's very much this is all you were seeing.
Okay.
And I guess a modern version or modernized style of this is what we're kind of seeing these days. Kind of recreated like this.
Could look something like this, and I see it. I fully see it. I think we're actually starting to be in this now.
It's funny because like we've seen a lot of this, obviously like very unique shaped furniture, and that's kind of been trending for a little while now. But what we're starting to see now is a lot more, not pastels, but primary colors.
I was gonna
So,
say, is there like a hint of that Danish pastel,
saturated. Yeah.
but saturated, and now you're moving closer to this Memphis style?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys remember the unexpected red theory? Have you seen that on TikTok?
I've seen something about, is that like just having a pop of red?
Yes.
I don't know why though.
Well, I think the why is because maybe it's reminiscence of the Memphis style, which is coming back in trends.
It's so funny too because even like let's take this example on the left.
Yeah.
There's so many colors,
Yes.
but red obviously because it's such a like, alert in your face color.
Yes.
The theory still applies. Like all you're kind of noticing
It's the red.
is the red.
Yeah.
But there's so many other colors to look at.
And it's just a very fun way to make a room feel slightly more designerly, slightly more into the trend. Just throw something bright and bold in there.
Take that pale pink Danish pastel vase that you had,
Yes.
paint it cobalt blue.
Like put a red circle on it.
Add a stripe.
Add it and then and a stripe and boom. Also, just a designer who is making this style, I think, very popular right now is Gustav Westman.
Yes.
He's pretty much bringing all of that back in like the designerly way. And then we have all the copies,
Yes.
essentially.
Okay, this one maybe is a bit of a hot take. Perhaps even, I'm not sure if we're 100% there yet. Of course, we had cottagecore kind of as an aesthetic a little bit ago, but I think leaning full into this like Tuscan kitchen moment might be the way the future's heading. Knowing that kind of the 70s and then the mid-century era just had its moment. Next would be 80s, 90s, which might take us into this coming up next in the 30s and 40s. There's a lot of crown molding, a lot of brass hardware.
Definitely seen like art on the range hood. So people are putting that crown molding up there and adding. Yeah. I've
Nice.
seen that.
Handmade goods, like
Yes.
hand painted art and just like more organic crafted things.
I guess like that mid-century was very like sleek and minimal.
Yes.
And I don't know, I even find myself wanting like detail. Like where's the detail again?
Yeah.
I see this photo here of that kitchen. I'm like, I love these table legs.
Yeah.
A little more ornate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do we think, looking at these? Two things that are really standing out to me is the sort of rooster motif.
Yeah.
That was everywhere, and I don't know why. It was just
What is
on.
it? Yeah, what is it about the rooster?
Is it good luck or something?
Oh.
And the preserved food items in bottles. Does anyone remember that?
Oh yeah. I had friends' houses.
Someone's got to explain this one to me.
You didn't have friends' houses with jars of food that you actually didn't eat ever.
You were not allowed to open them.
It's just decoration.
I believe it's aesthetic.
And where did you buy it? Because it wasn't meant to be eaten. So did
I
you get
know.
it from the grocery store or did you get it from like Pier 1 Imports?
Was it DIY?
Go to Google.
Wow.
I feel like BuzzFeed has got an article on it or something. Yes.
Like these.
Those.
And you don't eat it.
No.
$480. You Google like explanation.
Why?
She needs to know.
This is the real investigative journalism that we
I
need to be
mean,
doing.
Can you please do an episode on this?
Yeah, why
Why were we all obsessed with bottling unedible food?
Yeah.
I feel like it has to
People
do with
eat
something in time that was like, it represents like, I don't know, like a sense of prosperity. Like you have food to be able to store
That you didn't
and that you
need
put
to
it on
eat.
display is like a sign of something. That's like what I'm going to boil it down to, like from a while ago. I don't know why modernly we
Like
want
I am
that.
so set that I have extra food. That I
Yeah,
don't
and
need
you
to
and
eat.
you like put it on display, and it's a sign of like, you know, wealth maybe. I don't know.
You know what? I think we've found a niche that needs to be explained. Everyone knows about it. No one's explained it. And I need to know. So I am dying to know, do you guys agree with our predictions? Do you think that the bottled preserved food is coming back in the next decade?
Yeah, comment below your favorite trend of 2024. I want to know.
And I want to know, what are you working on? What can people go check out and expect from you next?
Keep an eye out for a video about running shoes, the history of them, and some interesting technological advancements in some running shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've learned that there's something called like moon boots, moon shoes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Talk about the 90s.
it's a fun one.
Well, I'm excited to check that out when it's out. And thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you click the link in the description to get an extra 4 months for free.
As always, thank you guys so much for joining us from the workshop floor.
And we'll see you guys next weekend.
Bye!